We need to have a serious conversation about what Netflix didn't show you. By now, millions of you have watched 50 Cent's docuseries, Diddy, The Reckoning. It was explosive, it was trending, and it painted Sean Combs as the ultimate villain. But if you were paying attention, you realized something felt missing. 50 Cent promised us 140 hours of footage. He promised us the end of the industry. But what we got was a sanitized, lawyer-approved version of a horror movie. Why? Because the truth is too radioactive for a streaming platform. The real story isn't just about Diddy, it's about the people he was filming. There is a dark theory circulating on the deep web that Diddy wasn't just a mogul, he was an intelligence asset, a man whose entire empire was built on gathering compromat, damaging footage on the most powerful people in entertainment and politics. Today, we are opening the files that Netflix deleted. We are going deep into blood sacrifices in Central Park, the night J-Lo allegedly carried a gun, the encrypted diary of Kim Porter, and the real reason the industry's elite are terrifyingly quiet.
I want to apologize for not sweating, but I do this so much. I'm so cool.
You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy. Is he a good guy?
I don't want to answer that question.
Oh, wow. I think he's a good guy. I'm going to stick up for him.
Brother right here from day one, we used to wake up and, damn, pause, but like... Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! Charges and allegations against me are 100% false.
There's no doubt in my mind who shot me.
You have said since really right after the shooting that it was P. Diddy who shot you.
I was standing by the front door. I watched the entire thing out.
Jay-Z turned himself in tonight, and the cops started working on his rap sheet, accusing him of a stabbing at a trendy party.
Diddy and Jay-Z denying any wrongdoing. Jay-Z calling the allegations frivolous, fictitious, and appalling.
Yes, it was breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you.
To understand the monster, you have to go back to the moment the mask first slipped. Netflix glossed over this, but we need to look at the raw files. The date was December 27th, 1999. It was the height of the bad boy era, a time of excess, shiny suits, and untouchable power. Diddy and his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez were at Club New York in Times Square. It was supposed to be a celebration, but the energy in the room shifted the moment a man named Matthew Scar Allen entered the picture. According to witnesses and court documents that were deemed too messy for the main documentary, an argument broke out. It was a classic of egos, culminating in specific disrespect toward the mogul, involving a stack of money thrown directly in his face. In the world of hip-hop moguls at the time, this was the ultimate insult. But what happened next wasn't a fistfight, it turned into a bloodbath. Witnesses claimed that Diddy's reaction was instant and violent. Reports allege that he pulled a weapon. In the chaos that followed, shots rang out. A woman named Natanya Rubin was caught in the crossfire, taking a bullet directly to the face. To this day, Rubin lives with fragments of that metal lodged in her body. For years, the narrative has been murky, but Rubin has never wavered in her story. She didn't say she thought she saw who shot her. She stated clearly in interviews that were deemed too risky for the final cut, "I watched the muzzle flash from both of their guns." She describes a moment of male machismo gone wrong, seeing them draw from their waistbands, and the terrifying realization that she was in the line of fire. She claimed she heard a voice tell her to calm down right before the impact. While the media focused on the celebrity drama of J-Lo and Puffy, a woman was bleeding out on the club floor.
There's no doubt in my mind who shot me.
You have said since really right after the shooting that it was P. Diddy who shot you.
I was standing by the front door. I watched the entire thing out. I had no reason to believe that it would escalate to a shooting. It was just male machismo and bravado at first. A lot of pushing and shoving, raised voices, hands, but then I saw them reach in their waist and draw from their hip. And I knew, I instantly turned to my friends and told them, be careful, watch out. And when I turned back, I know, and I've said over and over, I've heard the voice of God said, you are about to be hit. Calm down. And as I said, no, I looked straight forward ahead and I watched the muzzle flash from from both of their guns, and I felt the impact to my face instantly. J-Lo testified at the grand jury, as did many other people. It needs to be reopened, because if that is in fact the case, she carried the gun in and she lied to the grand jury.
But the most damning part is what happened after the shots were fired. If Diddy was innocent, as he later claimed in press conferences, his actions immediately following the shooting paint a very different picture. Innocent men usually stay at the scene to clear their names. They don't jump into a chauffeur-driven Lincoln Navigator and lead the NYPD on a high-speed chase through Manhattan. Reports from that night state that Diddy, J-Lo, and his entourage fled the scene, blowing through at least 11 red lights and ignoring stop signs in a desperate bid to escape. This wasn't panic. This looked like a getaway. When the police finally boxed them in and stopped the vehicle, they found a stolen gun inside the car. Now, here is the rumor that has circulated in barbershops and backrooms for 25 years, a rumor Netflix wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Natanya Rubin, the victim, has openly questioned J-Lo's role that night. In interviews, Rubin pointed out that J-Lo testified to the grand jury, but the victim believes the case needs to be reopened. The explosive allegation? Rubin suggests it's possible J-Lo carried the gun into the club for Diddy because security wouldn't search a female superstar as thoroughly as a male rapper. It's a theory that changes J-Lo from a bystander to an accomplice, and it explains why the car was fleeing so desperately.
Charges and allegations against me are 100% false, and I feel confident that in the next couple of days that I'll be vindicated and everything will be all right.
Words of confidence from rap star Sean Puffy Combs, made after he posted $100,000 bail on 3 counts of weapons charges. Combs' latest run-in with the law started at Times Square's Club New York, just after 2 o'clock Monday morning. Based on an eyewitness account, prosecutors say Combs, partying with girlfriend and actress Jennifer Lopez, got into an argument with someone. That person reportedly then threw a stack of money in Combs' face. Prosecutors then say one of Combs' associates, 19-year-old Jamal Barrow, also known as the rapper Shine, opened fire, while Combs reportedly pulled out a pistol of his own.
The fact that Mr. Combs has been arrested is because some person alleges that he had a gun.
Combs and Lopez fled the club, speeding away in his chauffeured Jeep. 3 people inside the club were injured, 2 of them critically, including a young woman with a bullet lodged in her cheek. Police say a high-speed chase involving Combs, Lopez, and 2 of his men riding up front spanned 20 blocks up 8th Avenue, through at least 11 red lights. When the squad cars caught up, a gun was found near the front seat. Everyone in the car was arrested.
Once the car was stopped, the corruption truly began. This is where the story takes a turn into pure villainy. Allegations surfaced that Diddy, realizing the gravity of the situation, a stolen gun, a shooting victim, and a high-speed chase, attempted to buy his way out on the spot. According to court testimony and street legends, Diddy allegedly tried to bribe his driver, Wardell Fenderson. The offer? A reported $100,000 in cash if Fenderson would claim ownership of the gun. But the driver refused. He wasn't going to take a felony charge for a mogul. So, Diddy needed a fall guy. Enter 19-year-old rapper Shine Barrow. Shine was Diddy's protege, the next biggie, the future of Bad Boy. But that night, he became the sacrifice. Shine was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison, while Diddy, who Natanya Rubin insists pulled the trigger, walked away free. Shine has since claimed he was the victim of Diddy's massive resources and ability to frame the narrative. Diddy didn't just let Shine go to jail, he allegedly engineered it to save himself. It was the first clear sign that Diddy viewed the people around him not as family, but as collateral damage.
On Sunday evening, I went to Club New York, and under no circumstances whatsoever did I have anything to do with a shooting. I do not own a gun, nor did I possess a gun that night. I had nothing to do with a shooting in this club. I want to make this 100% clear. I had nothing to do with a shooting in this club. And I feel terrible that people were hurt that night. I'm positive in the next couple of days, due to the investigation, that the truth will come out. Thank you very much.
Let me say this once. It is very frustrating that every time some person decides to make an accusation against Mr. Combs, that the press reports it as if it's true. It is a total lie. Mr. Combs went by himself in a limo with Miss Lopez, went to a club. He did not possess a gun. She did not possess a gun. Whatever happened at the club had nothing to do with him. There were shots fired. And when he went outside and he was whisked into a car in the back of the car with Miss Lopez, the gun was found in the front where two other people were. Now, the reason Miss Lopez was dismissed is because if you or I went into a car and sat in the back seat and a gun was found in the front, our cases would be dismissed. The reason Mr. Combs' case was not dismissed is a simple one, because every time someone lies, you all take it as true. He had nothing to do with this.
But legal bribes might not have been the only way Diddy beat that case. This brings us to the story that was considered too crazy for TV. You know Diddy walked free while Shine went to prison, but do you know how he allegedly did it spiritually? According to Gene Deal, Diddy's former head of security, legal fees weren't the only thing Diddy paid. Deal has gone on record with a story that chills the blood. He claims that right before the verdict, Diddy was terrified. He wasn't relying on his lawyers anymore. He allegedly took Gene Deal to Central Park to meet a man who dealt in the occult. According to the bodyguard, Diddy dropped to his knees in the middle of the park while this man performed a ritual involving smoke, sage, and a live white bird in a cage. Deal describes the scene vividly, the man waving smoke around Diddy, chanting, and then instructing Diddy to participate in a sacrificial ritual. The rumor is that Diddy participated in this to transfer his bad luck, his judgment, onto someone else. That someone else was Shine. Diddy walked free. Shine got 10 years. Netflix didn't touch this because it moves the conversation from crime to spiritual warfare. But in the industry, whispers about blood-in, blood-out contracts have existed for decades. The allegation is that Diddy didn't just buy his freedom, he traded a soul for it. If the witchcraft rumors are dark, the murder allegations are even darker. The documentary touched on the bad boy versus death row beef, but they left out the specific number, $1 million. And they left out the audio tapes that connect Diddy directly to the hit on Tupac Shakur. Keith D., the man currently standing trial for the murder of Tupac Shakur, has been saying the same thing for years to anyone who would listen. He alleges that in the mid-90s, Diddy didn't just want to win a rap beef, he wanted his enemies gone. The rumor, which has been corroborated by multiple street legends but never proven in court, is that Diddy allegedly put a $1 million bounty on the heads of Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. But it gets more specific. There is a legendary story about a pinky ring. In interviews, Keith D. claimed that after the hit was carried out in Las Vegas, Diddy called him. He wasn't asking if Tupac was okay. He allegedly asked, "Was it us?" trying to confirm if his money had bought the hit. Keith D. claims that Diddy was obsessed with knowing if the job was done. Later, rumors circulated that Diddy never paid the full $1 million, but allegedly paid $500,000 to the Southside Crips. Why did Netflix scrub this? Because accusing a billionaire of financing a contract killing without a conviction is a legal nightmare. But the streets have known this rumor for 30 years. When the news broke that Tupac had been shot, witnesses claimed Diddy's reaction was chillingly calm. This paints a picture of a man who treated human lives like line items on a budget. But the most heartbreaking deleted scene involves Kim Porter, the mother of his children, the woman who stood by him. When she died in 2018 of pneumonia, the world mourned, but insiders suspect something far more sinister. There is a persistent rumor that shortly before her death, Kim Porter was planning to leave Diddy for good, and more importantly, she was planning to write a tell-all book. Sources allege she had backed up her memories, text messages, and emails onto an encrypted flash drive, a dead man's switch designed to protect her. Gene Deal has spoken about the abuse Kim allegedly suffered. He described scenes where Diddy would physically assault her, leaving bruises that makeup artists had to cover before red carpet events. But the darkest allegation is that Diddy viewed Kim as a bargaining chip. Deal claims Diddy would invite other powerful executives into their bedroom to close business deals, using Kim as the closer. When she refused, things allegedly turned violent. Deal recounted a story where Diddy was playing with a pillow over her face, testing how long she could go without breathing. Was it play or was it practice? When the coroner called it pneumonia, many in the industry raised an eyebrow. The autopsy report notes she was treated by an in-house doctor, but the details are murky. Was she sick or was she silenced to stop that flash drive from getting out? But the most heartbreaking deleted scene involves Kim Porter, the mother of his children, the woman who stood by him. When she died in 2018 of pneumonia, the world mourned, but insiders suspect something far more sinister. There is a persistent rumor that shortly before her death, Kim Porter was planning to leave Diddy for good, and more importantly, she was planning to write a tell-all book. Sources allege she had backed up her memories, text messages, and emails onto an encrypted flash drive, a dead man's switch designed to protect her. Gene Deal has spoken about the abuse Kim allegedly suffered. He described scenes where Diddy would physically assault her, leaving bruises that makeup artists had to cover before red carpet events. But the darkest allegation is that Diddy viewed Kim as a bargaining chip. Deal claims Diddy would invite other powerful executives into their bedroom to close business deals, using Kim as the closer. When she refused, things allegedly turned violent. Deal recounted a story where Diddy was playing with a pillow over her face, testing how long she could go without breathing. Was it play or was it practice? When the coroner called it pneumonia, many in the industry raised an eyebrow. The autopsy report notes she was treated by an in-house doctor, but the details are murky. Was she sick or was she silenced to stop that flash drive from getting out? Then there's the footage that makes everyone's skin crawl, the Justin Bieber tapes. The documentary showed the clip of Diddy saying, "He's having 48 hours with Diddy. We can't really disclose what we're doing." But they didn't explain the implication. Look at the timeline. Usher lived with Diddy at 13. He called it Puffy Flavor Camp and later admitted he saw things wild and crazy that a child should never see. Years later, Usher handed over Justin Bieber to the same system. When Bieber resurfaced years later, he was broken, battling addiction, and speaking cryptically about the darkness of the industry. The internet theory is that these camps were grooming sessions. The rumor is that Diddy used young stars to lure in older, powerful investors. They were the bait. When Diddy's homes were raided, Usher wiped his entire Twitter history. Why? What was he afraid people would find? The silence from these former child stars isn't respect, it's trauma. They survived the 48 hours, but they left a piece of themselves behind. If the Bieber story is about grooming, this next story is about the manipulation of reality itself. It's one of the strangest chapters in the Diddy saga, and Netflix completely skipped it because it exposes Diddy as a pathological liar. In 2020, during the pandemic, Diddy went live on Instagram with a young white girl named Ava Baroni. In the clip, the girl calls him Papa Combs, and Diddy kisses her on the cheek. He then looks into the camera and tells his millions of followers that he has adopted her. He claimed he asked her mother for permission and compared himself to other celebrity adopters like Madonna and Angelina Jolie. "I adopted a white child," he bragged. The internet reacted with praise. It was a heartwarming story of a mogul opening his home. But then things got weird. Ava disappeared from his feed. She wasn't in the family Christmas photos. She wasn't at the events. Then, in September 2024, right around Diddy's arrest, TMZ dropped a report that shattered the illusion. There was no adoption. There was no paperwork. The report claimed that people close to the family described the video as a skit. Ava was simply a friend of Diddy's twin daughters. But why? Why frame it as an adoption to millions of people? Why have a child call you Papa Combs on a live stream if it's just a skit? This wasn't comedy. It was a psychological game. It showed Diddy's need to control the narrative, to present himself as a benevolent father figure, even if he had to fabricate reality to do it. It raises the question, if he lied about adopting a child for clout, what else was he lying about inside that house? If the adoption story was about psychological manipulation, we need to pivot to the physical reality of what the federal indictment calls the freakoffs. The Netflix documentary touched on this, and social media had a field day with the memes about baby oil. But the humor masked a mechanical horror that the documentary failed to fully deconstruct. We need to talk about the logistics. When the feds raided Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles, they didn't just find a party, they found a supply chain. They seized over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Let's look at that number closely. You don't need 1,000 bottles for a party. You don't even need 1,000 bottles for a hotel chain. You need 1,000 bottles for an industrial operation. Dark web theories and industry whispers suggest the oil wasn't just a lubricant, it was a weapon. It is known to degrade latex condoms, increasing the risk of transmission and creating a permanent biological bond between the victims through trauma and potential disease. It was a biological control. But it gets darker. Allegedly, these freakoffs weren't just a few hours long, they were marathons. The indictment states they could last for days. How do you keep human beings awake, compliant, and performing for 48 to 72 hours straight? The documentary mentioned heavy narcotics, but it left out the medical aspect. Rumors suggest that IV fluids, the same kind mentioned in Kim Porter's autopsy report, were used to keep victims hydrated and conscious when their bodies naturally wanted to shut down. This wasn't hedonism, it was a biological experiment in endurance and humiliation, and it required a staff. Who cleaned up the rooms? Who restocked the supplies? Who inserted the IVs? There is an entire network of cleaners, medical professionals, and hotel staff on Diddy's payroll who facilitated this. They kept these victims alive just long enough to perform again. That is the machinery of a sex trafficking ring, and it was operating in 5-star hotels across America, funded by the music industry, while the world looked the other way. Finally, we have to address the elephant in the room, the man 50 Cent's documentary barely touched, likely due to the immense power he wields in the industry. Sean Jay-Z Carter. Why is the loudest voice in hip-hop so quiet right now? Diddy and Jay-Z have been brothers for decades. They rose from the gritty streets of New York to the penthouses of the world together. They toasted at the Rock Nation brunch together. They were the twin pillars of East Coast hip-hop dominance. But while Diddy was loud, rambunctious, and constantly in front of the camera, Jay-Z moved in silence. Gene Deal has stated clearly, Jay-Z is the one you have to watch. The theory is that Diddy was the shield, the distraction. But in December 2024, a crack appeared in that shield. A lawsuit was filed by a Jane Doe that explicitly named Jay-Z alongside Diddy, alleging a horrific assault on a minor in the early 2000s. Jay-Z's team called the claim idiotic, and the mainstream media moved on quickly. But the rumor mill is spinning faster than ever. The theory circulating in the industry is that Diddy is the fall guy. The federal government accepted Diddy as the sacrifice to protect the bigger fish, the investors, and the silent partners. Diddy was sloppy. He filmed everything. He kept the receipts. Jay-Z, on the other hand, learned his lesson back in 1999 after the stabbing incident. He learned to move without leaving footprints. He doesn't have 140 hours of footage floating around. Or does he? 50 Cent knows this game better than anyone. He knows that if he goes after Jay-Z directly, the war changes from a skirmish to a world war. Diddy is a safe target because he's already down. But the system that created Diddy, the system that allowed him to operate for 30 years, is still in power. Diddy didn't do this alone. He had investors. He had guests at those parties. He had friends who watched the abuse, saw the bruises on Kim Porter, saw the fear in Usher's eyes, and said absolutely nothing. The 50 Cent documentary, Diddy, The Reckoning, was a victory lap for 50 Cent and a moment of validation for the victims. But it wasn't the whole truth. It was a controlled demolition of one man, designed to make the public feel like justice was served. But the 140 hours of footage tell a different story. They tell a story of a cult disguised as a record label. They tell a story of ritualistic abuse in Central Park, unverified adoptions used as PR props, young stars groomed in camps, and women like Kim Porter who were silenced before they could speak their truth. Diddy is sitting in a cell, but the tapes are still out there. And as long as those tapes exist, there are powerful people in Hollywood, in politics, and in the music industry who are not sleeping at night. The reckoning hasn't ended with Diddy's sentencing. It's just beginning. The silence is breaking, the files are opening, and the next name to drop might be the one you least expect. This wasn't just about a bad boy, it was about a bad industry. And now we are finally
Every time I turn on the TV, they're saying you're a bunch of fucking criminals, drug addicts, and pedophiles, and it's bullshit. That is not the whole city. That is a very small, specific section of the city. It's called Diddy's house. That is, listen. Is Diddy going to jail? What's the over-under? Someone asked Shohei Ohtani. I know he got the... Those Japanese love gambling, bro. Or I believe they call it driving. But whatever, man. Listen, this is the only reason I think he might be guilty is the evidence. The evidence is a motherfucker, bro. But no, the other reason is because every celebrity in LA has had their home robbed except Diddy. Like Rihanna got robbed, fucking Keanu Reeves got robbed, Paris Hilton got robbed, but no Diddy. And I thought about it, it's like, bro, robbing Diddy is terrifying, because what if he's there? You break down the door, he's butt naked on the couch. Meek Mill sitting on his lap, just petting him like a Maltese cat. Meek Mill crying, oh no, wait a minute, I thought you was finished. Diddy's like, can't stop, won't stop. You try to run out, you run out, the door is locked. You're locked in, you turn around, all of a sudden you hear, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. I can't be stopped now. It's your asshole tonight.